Hi everyone, it's Brenda back again with another episode of Three Uniques. I'm really pleased to introduce you to Brett Harmeling out of Houston, Texas. Hey Brett, how are you doing today?
Hey, good morning, Brenda. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, this is awesome. So just so everyone knows, Brett is in the private equity business within real estate. He's also a yoga instructor. And 2 years ago, we were just reminiscing that we went to Ethiopia together to help build a school. So welcome, Brett. What else can you share with everybody about yourself?
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Brenda. I would say the one thing that is really inspiring about our relationship and getting to know you more and more over the years has been that education's at the forefront of like everything that we do. And speaking of which, I'm currently a student at Rice Jones Graduate School of Business getting my MBA. This morning, they just announced that we were ranked the #1 entrepreneurship school in the country. And so we had a little celebration. And I'm just really grateful to be in an education program that is at the cutting edge of like changing the world on every level and developing new leaders with new skill sets to help people evolve through, COVID or elections or whatever the world, brings could bring.
Right. That's awesome. I had no idea. That's amazing that you're attending that school. And is that I know you're in business, but is that like where you want to work on your program? Is it on the entrepreneur side? Because like business, you could go marketing, entrepreneurialism, like where's your focus?
It's a good question. So my focus for the last 5 years has been in finance. And so I did make the shift from financial advisory into private equity fairly recently. And the reason being so is I wanted to really give, off-market sort of opportunities to high net worth individuals that are within my network, and the skills and tools that Rice Business School gives you are the skills of true entrepreneurship in every sense. And so they're very challenging and dynamic classes where the professors are some of the top people in their entire industry, whether it be in economics, analytics, statistics, financial accounting, these types of things, marketing, you name it. And so what it does, it gives you kind of a new toolbox. And if you already have the tools, definitely get a little sharpening, right? And so over the last 13 years, moving from real estate to technology to intelligence, and then now into finance over the last 5 years, I've never went to school for business before. I've learned all my skills in the field, which I think is the best way. But now, it's ready for that next level, and I'm ready for that upgrade. And so I was grateful to get in, and now I'm grateful to be a part of, the #1 school in the country currently. So.
That's awesome. And so you're also a yoga practitioner and a teacher. And if you follow Brett on his Instagram, he's constantly doing headstands in lots of places all around Houston. And then you've been recently posting a lot about ice plunges.
That is correct.
Yeah,
So
I'm curious about that.
yeah, so Nick Zog, who is the founder and creator of We Thrive, Vitality and Yoga here in Houston, actually opened his studio during COVID. We found a very big need, of kind of a gap of need per se in the community that was really craving in-person yoga. And since we have an indoor-outdoor space, we're able to really, really physical distance people away from each other and give people the same, powerful yoga experience that they had been missing because of, you can only get so much on Zoom in your own home, right? And so having that connection and creating that community was really important to us. And so me being the biohacker that I am, I'm always intrigued on how can we take yoga to the next level, because yoga is amazing and essential, especially for my own healing, growth, and development, which is why I stepped in to get my 500-hour RYT certification, is because I wanted to know every aspect of it and how all the pieces and limbs of yoga connected. And so one of the things that I added in was ice baths and near infrared light therapy. And so when you take our classes, you actually get near infrared light therapy coming down onto you, which there's a lot of benefits, but the #1 was it stimulates your mitochondria in your cells, which is the energy of your cells.
Mm-hmm.
And when your cells are energized and stimulated, well, then only good things can happen. Healing happens, positivity happens, anxiety goes away, things like this. And so that's part of the yoga experience. And then to bring the whole experience together, we do ice baths after many of the classes, especially the ones that I teach. So we call it fire and ice. And so increase the thermogenic energy from within, and then we actually put the body into the ice to create an experience, and that experience is cultivated through primal an innate ability to really trust yourself. Like when you're in the ice, it doesn't matter how good of an entrepreneur you are, how amazing of a mom you are, how good of a yogi you are. You have to really push past the threshold of the mind and just trust that you're going to be okay. And so it accentuates things like breathing and healing on a deep level, because it forces all the blood flow and in your body to go to the center, to go to the core. And so from there, your body and your lymphatic system is forced to process the blood. And so your body just becomes instantly oxygenated and full of this new primal vital energy. And what we call is, what I go for is total human optimization. Like, how can you live in a peak state with amazing bulletproof physiology all day long? Like, not just for 15 minutes here and there, but like, how can every part of your day be exciting and engaging? And so that's why we do it. It's to wake people up from the inside.
And this is why I wanted to have you on. And this is why I encourage everyone to follow you on Instagram, because this is how Brett talks every day on Instagram. He's always on Instagram stories, and he's always sharing enlightening pieces like this, and just how to really like be the best of yourself. So physically and mentally, just on it all the time. So I always appreciate, seeing a morning post from Brett talking to me about what I need to be doing physically or mentally with myself. So thank you.
And you touched on something important there that I want to, like, my posts are not like, hey, you need to do this to live a good life. My posts are just an opportunity to, like, I just share my life pretty openly, because I've really welcomed in a lot of discipline in my life. And I think it's healthy, because the discipline like drives me forward. It's not like I have to go to yoga or I have to go running or I have to meditate, but so it's like the concept, like, you don't have to practice, but when life calls upon your practice, you better hope that you practiced, right? And I stay in the practice, and I just offer up the opportunity for people to, seek whatever they're looking to get out of life.
Right. Okay, awesome. And so you're here to share your 3 uniques with us. I think it's of your water, your coffee. Yeah. And so what are they? I'm really excited to hear what they are.
Yeah, so I thought a lot about this, because I would say that I'm a very dynamic person, but the top 3 that came to mind is that I am a connector, I am an innovator, and I am resilient.
Amazing. Okay, so let's take it up to the top. So connector.
Yeah, so some people in today's society, would call it an influencer. I would like to say that I'm more equipped with the ability to generate connection with people, and then from that connection with people, I create connection between people. And from those connections, I really have seen people illuminate relationships on every level, from the heart space, right? From a space of compassion and empathy and encouragement and empowerment, where oftentimes, people, when they get connected or they influence someone, it feels sort of forced. And so I welcome in the energy of empowerment, which energy of empowerment is actually allowing and not forcing. And so I allow relationships to happen naturally based on what I hear and what I feel, the unique energies that each individual that I connect with brings to me, right? And so I would say that's my number 1 superpower, is being a connector.
Okay, awesome. And then number 2?
Number 2 is innovator. So I'm always, no matter which organization or what I'm up to, making things the best that they can possibly be. Everything from how I learn and study and teach myself to how I lead others, not only in school, but in my business and in my yoga classes. I'm always, adding that little bit of upgrade and a little bit of differentiator that allows people to truly live into their biggest and best self. And one of the concepts around this, me being an innovator, is that I help people live with passion. And so no matter what they're doing, what job they're in, what relationship they're in, I'm like, if you're not going to do it, and if you're not going to be all in, then why even do it? Because you get really one opportunity to live. Whether you believe it or not is okay. And so it's just like, we gotta maximize that opportunity of life, because we don't know when God's going to call us home. And so we want to just maximize the energy that we have here on earth.
Awesome. And then your third one's resiliency. Tell me about that.
Yes, so resiliency. I would say that life has presented me with a very challenging deck of cards. I grew up on a small farm with limited resources, and somehow I got myself out of that farm. Not in a bad way. I loved my childhood, but I made it from farm to city, right? And so I got into a great university, a great undergrad, Carthage College, as well as I did my leadership certification program at University of Wisconsin-Madison. And those two schools like transformed my life in terms of being able to see the world through a different lens. And when I say resilient, I got knocked down a lot of times in the process. From being a young kid, I was a bit smaller. My brother was bigger and more athletic, and so he got a lot of attention. Which, as a man, in sports in a small community, you strive to get the award, to get the first place, to get the achievements. And so my whole life, I always felt like I'm like the little engine that could, right? And I never give up. I'll never give up. And people know that about me. And it's persistence, right? And it's not about how many times you get knocked down, but it's how you get up and what you step into each and every time. And so it's kind of funny, but people say like, I say like, I never lose. And even though I've lost many times, like I lost my sister, which is one of the hardest things that life ever presented me with. It's like I learn. I never win or I never lose. I either win or I learn. And so I learn because I know how to step back. I know how to look at my surroundings, and then I know how to step into a situation with energy that's of the energy of responding versus reacting. And so I would say, yeah, resiliency is something that I have needed to bring into every aspect of my life because of the challenges and the stages and things that I get myself involved in. Mm-hmm. I love being involved in very complex business deals and really sticky, hard conversations. Like the stickier, the better for me, right? Mm-hmm. And I often say I'm like Google. I make really complex things simple to understand.
Right. Awesome. Our own Google person. Awesome. Okay, so my last couple questions for you, which I think are going to be cool. I'm excited when I was thinking about them this morning, I was excited to ask you these ones. So in the last 5 years, what new belief, behavior, or habit has most improved your life?
So many people know me to be a big lover, like a really optimistic, passionate dude. And I would say the hardest challenge that I've had in the last 5 years is actually loving myself. Mm-hmm. So I have really taken action in my own hands to love myself, simply so that I know how to live with self-respect. Not loving yourself is like disrespecting the most beautiful thing on earth, which is yourself. Mm-hmm. And so I've been really focused on growth and development in terms of bettering myself as a human from the inside, meaning like being able to look into the mirror and actually tell myself that I love myself and believe it, like on a cellular level, not some fabricated thing like, oh, I don't look good today, I don't love myself. Like, it's not about what you wear or even how you feel. It's about training your mind to say, no matter what, I love myself. Because on the other side of love is trust, right? And on the other side of trust is confidence. And if you don't have trust and confidence and love in your life, then your life's going to be a bit shaky, right? And people will know that. And I'm a big energy person. And so we're frequencies sharing an experience together, and you will literally attract the kind of energy that you're putting out. And so if you look around and your circumstances aren't good or your relationships aren't good, it's like I've found to know that it's like actually because I'm not good, right? And so upgrading that energy and stepping into self-love and compassion and empathy. I'm like, I say I'm not alone, but I'm probably my biggest critic, right? I'm the hardest on myself than any other person, right? And so just forgiving myself and being okay with who I really am.
Awesome. I knew I'd get a good answer if I asked that question. That's amazing. Thank you. And then what advice would you give to, say, a smart driven college student that's just like starting up about entering the real world? And what advice should maybe they ignore?
Mm. So the biggest lesson that I could give anyone that's going through college, if I had this advice, it would have changed, it would have shifted my past, and that would be to really pick the thing that you love doing, pick your passion, and make that thing, whatever that passion is, make that the thing that drives your life, like your income, not everyone goes to school, right? And is like, I'm going to be a doctor. I know I want to be a doctor, and I know I'm going to go to school for 13 more years, and then blah, 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 blah. Like I was not that kid, right? And so I would encourage each and every student that is going to step into something new to not be limited by their education, but actually use their education as an experience and a platform to help them see what they want to step into. I struggle as a student because of a brain injury that I had in the past, and so I have to work extra hard, which looks like just getting by. And I get good grades because I'm an overachiever and I try really hard. But honestly, don't go to school to get good grades. Go to school to get good connections. Go to school to find your passion and your purpose, because when you find your passion and your purpose, then none of the other stuff's going to matter. For instance, if you love accounting and statistics and that kind of thing, how can you put yourself in a position where you're doing that every day, but you also get to do the other things that you love in your life?
Right.
And with technology and in the world today, there's tremendous opportunities, even with COVID, that are available to students, right? And the other important thing about being a student is that you should never stop being a student. And there's two ways to, education, in my opinion, means economic freedom. And so that's exactly why I went on that trip with you, Brenda, to Ethiopia, to provide, an opportunity for education for a community of people that would have never had access to the tools and resources that we as an organization provided. And so that's near and dear to my heart. My undergrad's in education. And so there's the curriculum, there's courses, there's colleges, but the second best way to really advance your life, like to 10x your life and take it to the next level, is to find someone that's older than you, and wiser than you. Doesn't necessarily need to be older, but usually is, because they've been through it. Find that person, whoever it is, and then unapologetically ask them questions, get in front of them, learn from them, because that's their gift. That's their giveaway, is to share what they've learned, so you don't maybe have to go through some of those tough lessons, because you're going to go through your own tough lessons. And so between education and mentorship, those two things will really move the ball forward on every level, if I had to give advice to a college student. So
amazing. Thank you. Last question. Over, under when it comes to toilet paper?
Oh, over, absolutely.
Sorry, that was me the one that tripped you up there.
I'll change it every time.
Amazing. Brett, thanks so much for being on today. Really appreciate connecting with you and hearing about your 3 uniques. It's awesome.
Yeah, thank you so much, Brenda. I really enjoyed being on your show, and thank you for being a big supporter of everything I'm up to.
Awesome. And thanks everybody for tuning in today. And remember, just like Brett, get out there, share your 3 uniques. The world needs what you've got. There's 7.5 billion people on this planet. Somebody needs to connect with you. Take care, everyone.